The planet of Beerus trembled violently with every impact. The clouds in the sky scattered under the immense pressure, and the lakes overflowed. The air itself seemed as if it were about to shatter into pieces because of the magnitude of the battle taking place at that moment. On one side of the battlefield, Vegeta stood with his arms crossed, watching the impressive display of power with a deep frown. Beside him, Broly stared with wide eyes, amazed by the strength of both warriors. That brat's level has increased in an absurd way. He's really managing to keep up with Kakarot in that state. It's incredible! Their movements are so fast I can barely see them. Gohan's energy feels very wild, but at the same time it's completely controlled. At the center of the battlefield, Goku and Gohan exchanged blows at a speed that defied logic. Goku was surrounded by the silver aura of mastered Ultra Instinct, dodging and counterattacking with absolute calm. Meanwhile, Gohan had unleashed his beast form, his spiked white hair rising upward and his red eyes glowing with overwhelming ferocity as he threw punches that made space itself vibrate. Here I come, Dad! I'm not gonna hold back at all! That's it, Gohan! Show me all the power you've been hiding! Both warriors smiled, enjoying the fight to the fullest. In a burst of speed, Gohan moved back several meters and channeled all of his monstrous energy into his right fist, surrounding it with red and purple lightning. Goku did the same, concentrating the divine power of Ultra Instinct into his own hand, preparing the ultimate strike to test his son's endurance. Beerus, who was lying a few meters away eating a bowl of noodles, dropped his chopsticks when he felt the immense buildup of energy. Hey, you idiots! If those energies collide, you're going to destroy my entire planet! We stop them! I'm afraid it's too late, Lord Beerus. Those two are no longer going to stop. Goku and Gohan vanished from sight and reappeared at the exact center of the crater, throwing their fist forward with all their physical and spiritual strength. The collision of their knuckles produced a deep rumble, followed by a blinding flash of white and red light that covered the entire planet. But instead of a normal explosion, the space between their fists began to crack as if it were glass about to break. The combined pressure of Ultra Instinct and Beast Energy had surpassed the limit of what that dimension could withstand, generating a massive space-time distortion in a matter of milliseconds. Gohan's eyes widened in surprise as he felt his arm being pulled by an invisible force. What is this? Dad, something's wrong! Gohan, get back! Before Goku could finish his sentence, the fabric of reality tore apart completely. A dark and violent vortex opened right behind them, sucking him in with such overwhelming force that not even Ultra Instinct could help him escape. In the blink of an eye, the rift swallowed Goku and closed violently, creating a shockwave that sent Gohan flying through the air. The battlefield fell into a deathly silence, with Gohan dropping to his knees on the ground, returning to his base form as he stared at his hands in disbelief and terror. Dad! He disappeared! Vegeta ran toward the center of the crater, gritting his teeth in fury as he desperately searched for his rival's energy, but he found nothing. Kakarot had completely vanished from the universe. Meanwhile, in the middle of nowhere, Goku was being dragged through a tunnel of distorted lights and shifting shadows. His Ultra Instinct state deactivated from the dimensional impact, leaving him in his base form as he spun uncontrollably through the void. Finally, the pulling force stopped, and Goku was spat directly into a clear blue sky. The Saiyan regained his composure in midair, turning his body to land cleanly on both feet in the middle of a dense forest, raising a small cloud of dust as he touched the ground. Goku blinked several times, shaking his head to clear the dizziness. He looked around, noticing the huge trees and rocky mountains surrounding him. The place felt incredibly peaceful compared to Beerus' planet. Wow, that was really strange. Our clash of power must have opened a black hole or something. Well, at least it looked like I landed on Earth. This place looks a lot like Mount Paozu, but something doesn't add up. The air feels different. Goku quickly placed 2 fingers on his forehead, trying to sense Vegeta's ki, Gohan's ki, or even Piccolo's ki so he could use instant transmission and return to them. However, his relaxed expression immediately changed into one of complete confusion when he failed to sense any of them. That's weird. I can't feel Gohan's energy, and Vegeta's ki isn't anywhere either. Did I fall into another universe? Determined to investigate, Goku expanded his search range, extending his senses across the entire planet. That was when he began to detect familiar presences, but what he felt left him even more confused. Wait a second, I can sense Krillin's ki and Yamcha's. I can also sense Master Roshi and Tien, but this doesn't make any sense. Goku lowered his hand from his forehead, staring at the horizon with a frown. The confusion on his face was obvious. These ki feel completely different. It's like Tien Shinhan has never trained in his life, or like Krillin is barely a child. What the heck is going on here? While trying to understand the situation, one particular energy caught all of his attention. It was very close to him, only a few meters away through the trees. It was a ridiculously small energy, but it shone with a purity and familiarity that twisted his stomach with pure nostalgia. Goku walked silently through the bushes, following the trail of that familiar energy. When he peeked out from behind some huge shrubs, the scene he saw left him completely frozen. A few meters away, walking along a dirt path, was a small boy with spiky hair, wearing a blue martial arts tunic and carrying a monkey tail that moved lazily behind him. The boy carried a giant fish over his right shoulder, whistling a cheerful melody as he walked toward a small cabin in the mountains. Goku's eyes widened and he felt his jaw drop from shock. He didn't need any scientific explanation to understand what he was seeing. His battle instinct and his memories were screaming the truth at him. That boy is me! And that's the giant fish I caught on the day that... The Clash of Powers didn't send me somewhere else. It sent me to the past. I went back to the beginning of everything. Little Goku suddenly stopped, dropping the fish onto the ground. His sharp senses had picked up the sound of leaves moving. He clenched his fist and quickly turned toward the bushes, taking a defensive stance. Hey, you! I know you're hiding there! Come out right now or I'll have to beat you up! Adult Goku let out a small laugh after seeing the wild and distrustful attitude of his past self. He pushed the bushes aside and walked onto the path, fully revealing himself to the boy with a warmed, relaxed smile. Hi, don't be scared. I'm not here to fight, and I'm not here trying to steal your food either. Little Goku looked him up and down, blinking in surprise. The man standing in front of him was very tall and muscular, wore a strange orange outfit, and surprisingly, had hair identical to his own. You're a really weird guy, and you're huge. Are you a forest monster disguised as a human? My grandpa told me to be careful with monsters. I promise I'm human, or, well, a Saiyan, but I'm not a monster. Before the boy could keep questioning him, a loud noise interrupted the conversation. A vehicle accelerating at full speed was approaching quickly along the main forest path, raising a large cloud of dust. Little Goku immediately became tense, his eyes fixed on the direction of the sound as he watched a strange metallic vehicle heading straight toward them at full speed. A monster is coming! Hurry, weird guy! Get out of the way! Adult Goku, however, didn't even move an inch. He knew perfectly well who was driving that car, and he knew exactly what was about to happen if he didn't interfere. In his original timeline, he had lifted the car and thrown it into the air, terrifying Bulma. But now, things were going to be a little different. Little Goku drew his power pole and prepared to jump toward the vehicle, but before he could do so, Adult Goku stepped forward with imperceptible speed, placing himself between the boy and the car. Get out of the way! Bulma slammed on the brakes with all her strength, but she was going too fast. The tires screeched violently against the dirt, skidding out of control. The impact was inevitable, and the girl closed her eyes, preparing for the worst. But the crash never happened. Adult Goku simply extended his right hand forward and placed his open palm against the hood of the speeding vehicle. At the exact moment of contact, the car stopped dead, as if it had crashed into a mountain of titanium. The front of the chassis dented slightly under the pressure of Goku's hand, but the vehicle absorbed the entire impact without flying away. Little Goku's mouth fell open in amazement, and he dropped his staff to the ground. He couldn't believe what he had just seen. The metal monster moving at such high speed had been stopped with one hand and without the slightest effort. Incredible! That guy stopped that huge monster without even sweating! He must be super strong! Inside the car, Bulma slowly opened her eyes, trembling in fear and expecting to be hurt. When she realized she was safe, she looked up through the windshield and saw the tall man smiling at her kindly, his hand still resting on the crushed hood of her new car. Whew, that was close. You should be more careful when driving through the forest. You almost ran over that kid. Bulma froze for a second, processing the madness she had just witnessed. Some random guy in the middle of the forest had stopped her car with one hand? Her initial terror was quickly replaced by anger and panic. "What the hell is wrong with you? You almost scared me to death! And look what you did to my car, you damn monster!" Filled with panic and adrenaline, Bulma kicked the car door open and stepped out. She quickly reached for her belt and pulled out a gun, aiming it directly at adult Goku's chest with trembling hands. "Don't come any closer! I'm warning you, I'm armed, and I won't hesitate to shoot if you try anything!" Little Goku looked at the gun curiously, tilting his head because he didn't know what kind of weapon it was. Adult Goku, on the other hand, simply crossed his arms, keeping his calm smile as he nostalgically remembered how rude and scared Bulma used to be in her youth. "Calm down. Lower that thing. I already told you it was an accident. I only stopped you so you wouldn't run us over. We don't want to hurt you." "Shut up! You're not gonna fool me, you animal!" Overcome by the fear of standing before someone capable of stopping a car with his bare hands, Bulma pulled the trigger 3 times in a row. The sound of gunshots echoed throughout the forest, startling several birds that flew out of the nearby trees. Little Goku tensed, ready to intervene, but what happened next left him even more amazed. Adult Goku didn't even bother to move. The 3 bullets struck him directly in his bare chest, but instead of piercing his skin, they flattened and fell harmlessly to the ground. Goku had not even bothered to use his ki. His natural Saiyan body was more than enough to resist something so insignificant. "Oh, Bulma, you were always so impulsive, weren't you? Those little metal things don't even tickle me." Bulma dropped the gun, stepping back and falling seated onto the grass, completely in shock, unable to process the logic of the situation. "You're a monster! You're not human! The bullets didn't do anything to you! Please don't eat me! I'm too young and beautiful to die!" Little Goku quickly walked closer, standing in front of the tall man as he looked at the blue-haired lady with curiosity. The girl's attitude seemed very strange to him, since he had never seen a woman in his life. "Hey, don't cry. He's not gonna eat you. Or at least he doesn't look hungry for monster meat. Besides, what kind of creature are you? You have blue hair, and your face is really weird. You don't look like anything I've seen in the forest." Bulma stopped crying out of pure indignation at the boy's comment. She jumped to her feet, forgetting her fear for a second as she shouted at the top of her lungs. "Who are you calling a weird creature, you rude brat? I'm a normal human, a human girl. Have you never seen one in your life?" "A girl? My grandpa told me girls were very sweet and kind creatures. But you're really loud and angry. I think my grandpa was wrong." Bulma was about to explode with rage, a vein bulging on her forehead, but adult Goku burst into loud laughter, stepping in before the situation got out of control. "Sorry, Bulma. He's lived alone in the mountains his whole life. He doesn't know how to deal with people, much less girls." Bulma blinked, confused, looking at him suspiciously as she dusted off her skirt. "Wait a second. How do you know my name? I've never seen you in my life, and I'm sure I'd remember an indestructible giant walking through the forest in a ridiculous orange outfit." Goku scratched the back of his neck with his usual innocent expression, realizing that explaining everything was going to be a headache. But he had no other choice if he wanted to go with them and figure out how to return to his own time. "Oh, right. It's a really crazy story. My name is Goku too, just like this little guy here. And I know your name because even if you don't believe me, I come from the future." Both Bulma and little Goku fell into absolute silence, staring at him as if he had grown a second head. The little boy didn't understand the concept of time, and Bulma, a scientific genius, was about to lose her mind after hearing such a statement in the middle of the forest of Mount Paozu.